we are starting with the POSCO Act 2012, that is Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. Why are we going to discuss it? Because recently the High Court of Bombay acquitted a person who was accused of sexual abuse, child sexual abuse, citing the fact that the POSCO Act, the minimum punishment that POSCO Act recommends is 3 years. Okay? And the High Court observed that the minimum punishment for the crime that the accused was involved into is disproportionate. Okay? So what court observed was the minimum crime that POSCO Act recommends is disproportionate to the crime that the accused has been accused was involved into. Okay? What happened was the court cited the stringent mandatory minimum sentence provisions in the POSCO Act and punished the person based on the IPC section 354, outraging the modesty of a woman. What Bombay High Court did was, Bombay High Court said that the accused has not been involved, like the accused should not be punished under the provisions of the POSCO Act, because POSCO Act में minimum punishment required is 3 years. ठीक है? POSCO Act में minimum punishment is 3 years for inappropriately touching someone, like touching kids, है ना? So for those kind of acts, the minimum punishment recommended is 3 years. But what High Court of Bombay believed was, the judge, the judge who delivered this judgment is also a lady. She believed that the mandatory minimum sentence would be disproportionate to the kind of act the accused has been involved into. Moreover, the court said that touching a child without the intention of course the accused will also always say that he did not have the intention of outraging the modesty of the child or whatever, but the court said that he should be rather tried under the section 354 of Indian Penal Code. And what does the section 354 says? Outraging the modesty of a woman. And the court went on to say that the person who was accused should be acquitted, rather be convicted under section 354, because he did not actually molest the child. He touched the child from, he did not put her hand inside the clothes of the child, and that is why he was not actually molesting. And that was very outrageous, of course it is, and that is why it invited so much of criticism. Okay? But Supreme Court stepped in and stayed the judgment. Okay? The acquittal has been stayed. Okay? So why did the judge think that the accused should not be tried under the section 3, the sections or provisions of the POSCO Act, but the section of IPC? Okay? So we will deal with what the problem is. For the time being, now we will discuss the salient features of the POSCO Act. What are they? First of all, and why the need of a POSCO Act, Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act, was needed? Because first of all, India is the signatory of United Nations Convention of Protection of Child Rights. Fine. India has signed this convention. So India is obligated to bring a specific law that deals with the child sexual abuse. Moreover, the laws that India already has, like IPC, the IPC does not deal, IPC has some problems and constraints. The IPC is not a gender neutral law. That is, a boy who has been accused, who has been molested does not have a judicial remedy under the IPC section 354, section 377. Okay? So there was a need to address this problem, to bring about a gender neutral law. POSCO is a gender neutral law. It does not make a discrimination on the basis of the gender of the victim. Okay? It clearly defines. There are some problems with the IPC, as the definition of modesty of a woman is not clear. Fine. So there, a law is only as good as it is being implemented. ठीक है. तो there has been problems in implementation because the lawyers have been trying to find out the loopholes in the law, and they have been citing the fact that the action of the accused did not amount to the outraging of modesty. ठीक है. तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स हैं हमारे आईपीसी में. तो टू डील विद देम अ वेरी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एंड प्रोग्रेसिव लॉ वाज ब्रॉट. ठीक है. तो इट clearly defines sexual abuse. First of all, the definition has to be clear so that the law is clear and the implementation of law is rather just and better. ठीक है. That is including penetrative and non-penetrative assault, okay, as well as sexual harassment and pornography. Pornography has also been included in the law. Child pornography is now criminalized. Fine. Even showing a normal porn to a child is a crime. ठीक है. Holding any like having any kind of child porn on your own device is a crime. ठीक है. तो any kind of child porn या showing any kind of porn to a child is now a crime under POSCO Act. Again, it deems as a sexual assault. ठीक है. It is deemed as a sexual assault to be. And a sexual assault is deemed aggravated because aggravated sexual assault has a different kind of punishment mentioned in this act, and these sexual assault have a different kind of punishment mentioned in, like these assaults have a lenient one as compared to the aggravated sexual assault. ठीक है. The term aggravated is very important because this term actually included the sociological reality of the child abuse that is happening in the country. Moreover, not only in the country, throughout the world, because most of the child sexual abuses or the most of the sexual abuses that take place take place due to a nature of trust between the accused, perpetrator and the victim. Most of the time, like around 60 to 70%, the sexual crimes are committed by the people who have a relationship of trust with the victim. ठीक है. Like relatives, doctors, teachers. ठीक है. For that, to make the provision stringent against those kind of sexual abuse, aggravated sexual assault has been defined in a different fashion. And when the abuse is committed by a person in a position of trust or authority, like if a parent, a relative, police officer, doctor, teacher, those people who have the trust of the child or who are in a position of authority, who can of course influence the child into getting into the kind of sexual act. ठीक है. तो इसके लिए aggravated sexual assault has been separately defined, and the punishment for aggravated sexual assault has been different, like made different from the original kind of sexual assault that includes penetrative and non-penetrative assault and sexual harassment and pornography. Fine. So that is the definition of sexual abuse. ठीक है. So the law is very clear on the definition and what kind of sexual assault can take place. Second section is people who traffic children for sexual purposes are also considered are also punishable under the provisions related to the abetment of the act. Abetment means uksana, yani to push someone into something. ठीक है. तो like there is a law in IPC called abetment to suicide. If a person commits suicide due to some other person, so that person will be charged with, the person due to whom the person has committed suicide will be charged with the what section? Abetment to suicide. Similarly, if a person is trafficking a child into sexual industry or flesh industry, so that person, the one who has trafficked him, will be charged with abetment into the act. Okay, fine. The third thing is it defines child pornography. It's a very progressive law in the sense that it deals with the child pornography, but there is a criticism of the law that it does not deal with the cyberbullying or the cyber sexual assault that might take place. ठीक है. It definitely defines child pornography, but it is silent on cyberbullying या cyber sexual assaults that might take place in like today various chat rooms are growing, है ना. Dark web पे बहुत सारा content है, and it is silent on that. Any visual depiction of sexually explicit conduct involving a child, okay, First one is very important. Child pornography has been defined as any kind of sexually suggestive or sexual act. Even if the act is suggestive of sexual nature, that act is also considered as crime under the child pornography of this section of this act. Okay? Great. A very important thing that the civil society was able to bring into this law was the media has been barred from disclosing the identity of the child without the help, without the permission of a what magistrate. ठीक है, मतलब the media cannot report and disclose the identity of the victim if the victim is a child, of course, and this act deals with the child sexual abuse. Hence, this is a very good thing in the sense that it protects the privacy and gives the child a chance to gain the kind of already the kind of trauma the child is going through, that has to be protected. ठीक है? It is applicable only if the crime involves, okay, and it defines very clearly that the POSCO Act will only be applicable when the crime is the parties to the crime are one is child and the other one is adult. If the crime that is taking place is between the two juveniles, तो जुवेनाइल जस्टिस प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 2000 विल बी एप्लीकेबल इंस्टेड ऑफ पॉक्सो एक्ट. मतलब पॉक्सो एक्ट तभी आएगा जब एक अडल्ट एक चाइल्ड पे सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट कर रहा है. अगर दो चिल्ड्रन या दो 18 इयर्स के बिलो के, ओके, वन मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट आई माइट हैव फॉरगॉट इज कि इट डिफाइंस चिल्ड्रन एज दोज इंडिविजुअल्स हु आर बिलो 18 इयर्स ऑफ एज. ठीक है, तो ओके, आई टोल्ड यू नाउ. So if the sexual crime has been committed by a juvenile over a child, मतलब a child over a child, ठीक है, तो then Juvenile Justice Protection Act will be applicable and not the POSCO Act. Okay, and the latest amendment in 2019, okay, this 2019 amendment was brought to increase the punishment, minimum punishment for sexual assault. Okay, we are talking about here is minimum imprisonment for 10 years to from 7 years. This is about sexual assault. ठीक है? The act makes clear distinction between assault, aggravated assault, and the third one is abuse. Fine. Abuse के लिए minimum is 3 years. एग्रेवेटेड असॉल्ट के लिए मिनिमम इज 20 इयर्स और असॉल्ट के लिए, सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट के मिनिमम इज 3 इयर्स. ठीक है, ओ सॉरी, असॉल्ट के लिए मिनिमम इज एक्चुअली इट वाज 7 इयर्स, नाउ इट हैज बीन मेड 10 इयर्स. फाइन. तो थ्रू द अमेंडमेंट ऑफ 2019 हैज मेड द मिनिमम इम्प्रिजनमेंट 10 इयर्स फ्रॉम 7 इयर्स एंड aggravated penetrative sexual assault के लिए that was 20 years, now it has been made death sentence or life imprisonment. ठीक है, life imprisonment till the last breath of the individual who has committed that kind of assault. ठीक है, or death, and also imposes a fine, and that fine should be so much, that fine should not be deposited with the government, but the fine will be actually given to the victim as a form of compensation, and that fine should be so much that the magistrate will decide how much fine should be imposed, and it should be in proportion to the cost that might be incurred upon the victim for his for his rehabilitation. ठीक है, तो अभी तक I hope this is clear. So what is significance of this act? As I told, the traditional IPC sections are not gender neutral and protect against only acts such as penovaginal intercourse. Like penovaginal intercourse, मतलब any kind of penetrative assault पे ही बहुत ज़्यादा stringent punishments हैं, and that too not if the victim is a boy. ठीक है, IPC sections are, first thing is not gender neutral, and they only have stringent punishments related to what if there is a penetrative assault, ठीक है, or unnatural kind of assault. The second term is, the terms used in IPC 377 are modesty and unnatural offenses, and both have not been defined. ठीक है, तो there have been, these are kind of loopholes that lawyers will look for. The criminal lawyer, that the one who is defending the case of the accused, he will look for the loopholes. He will try to prove that the modesty was not actually outraged. Okay, as happened in the Satish case. Fine. And the court actually bought that argument. Now, POSCO Act also mandates a compensation to the victim. This is very important. It not only talks about the punishment of the accused, but it also talks about the rehabilitation. Okay? And it asks for a compensation to be paid to the victim. POSCO understands the need of the child sensitive law. This is a very child sensitive law and incorporates many international practices. Like it tries to set up special courts for trying the crimes under the POSCO Act. First thing. The second thing is, there is a section or there is a provision in this POSCO Act that mandates that when the statement of the child is being recorded, the policeman should not be in the uniform. He should be in civil dress. That reflects the sensitivity that has been put into the act. Okay. So this actually incorporates international practices, international good practices. But what are the challenges? Abysmal rate of conviction. As I told in the very beginning, कि 18% conviction rate for in 2017 and in 2014 the rate was 14%. यानी अगर 100 लोग accused होते हैं तो बस 18 लोग लास्ट में convict होके जेल जा पाते हैं. ठीक है? Conviction का मतलब है कि they have been now charged under the laws. Charged under the laws means they have been proven guilty. Now, National Crime Records Bureau report of 2016 states that the pendency rate is 89%. 89% of the cases are pending in the courts. Okay? And that pendency is high because, of course, Justice Malimat Committee report on criminal justice system states that the high pendency rate of criminal cases in India is, first one is due to the inability of the police to conduct investigations. Okay? The second part is the lack of forensic evidence that the police uses. ठीक है? तो और इसके ऊपर ज्यादा पढ़ने के लिए प्लीज मलिमाट कमेटी रिपोर्ट पढ़ लेना. ठीक है? मलिमाट कमेटी रिपोर्ट ऑन क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम. ठीक है? Fine. The act mandates that states establish a special court to try cases under the POSCO Act, but most of the states have not established any kind of courts. Okay? Due to which such cases either actually don't go to the courts or go to the sessions court, due to which the kind of sensitivity or the kind of treatment that the child should get is not that kind of treatment is not been meted out to the victims of the child sexual abuse. One very important thing that actually is controversial also, Justice J.S. Verma Committee that was formed after the Nirbhaya case in 2013, and actually it was formed in December 2013, okay? And Law Commission 262nd report were against the death penalty that has now been included in the act. Now, why are these committees against the death penalty? It is not because of the only fact that people are opposed to the capital punishment, but there is a different sociological fact that can be attributed to this judgment, this recommendation, and that is that most of the crimes are committed by the close relatives of the children. Okay? And if the punishment is death penalty, the children are deterred from reporting that crime. Okay? And they are often pursued to not pursue the crime, not pursue the case, because and moreover the children might live in a perpetual guilt because the mind of children are not as developed as the adults are. Okay? Even adults fail to understand to cope up with the guilt. ठीक है? तो इसलिए क्योंकि मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस जो हैं वो चिल्ड्रन के क्लोज रिलेटिव्स के द्वारा ही किए जाते हैं सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट्स, और उस केस में when the child comes to know about the fact that the accused is going to be hanged to death, so he does not want to go to the criminal justice system. ठीक है? And moreover, already the reporting of child sexual abuse is very low. Section 29 makes the accused to be treated guilty. This is like one of the one of laws that goes against the fundamental principle of justice. What? And that is innocent until proven guilty. Okay. So, but this makes what? The accused already, the courts already consider the accused as guilty, and the burden of proof lies on what? Accused and not the accuser. Okay. The minimum punishment of 3 years has led to, again, now this was the problem that the Bombay High Court faced. Bombay High Court said that the kind of act that accused has been involved into and the kind of punishment that POSCO Act recommends are disproportionate. Okay. And that is why most of the judges try to settle that case by trying into IPC section 354, which talks about the modesty of a woman. Okay. Okay. Understood? Like such acts of like inappropriate touching, kissing, and all these acts which are not of aggravated nature, okay, or not of penetrative nature. So what judges do is judges take a lenient view and they try the case under what? IPC section 354. And that is a problem.